Hello, everybody.
Hi. Nice to see you.
Hey, welcome to ChillPoint. But before we do ChillPoint, we have to do the thing that we're doing the ChillPoint about, because there was an episode of CheckPoint that we shot yesterday, and technically it did go up on. We're still having this issue with our YouTube channel, but it went up on our Twitch account last night. We've been uploading a couple of videos directly to the Twitch account. You can watch them in the Twitch VODs. The last couple episodes of CheckPoint, as well as the last couple.
Three episodes of Alabaster Kingdom.
Alabaster Kingdom, yes.
Yeah.
But if you didn't, that's kind of a strange place for it to be. You might not have been looking for the episode there. So we thought we would also play this for you now. So here we go. This is the most recent episode of CheckPoint, and then afterwards we'll come back and talk about the thing that you just saw.
And tear it to bits.
Here we go.
Today, how much do you like Destiny 2? Please answer in the form of a dollar value. This is CheckPoint. Welcome to CheckPoint, where today we attempt to answer an ancient Zen proverb. If you make a video about video game news, but it can't be uploaded to YouTube, are the takes still hot?
You mean no one is going to be able to see this? No audience means no pants.
No, you say that like the audience was encouraging you to keep your pants on. No, stop. Please stop. Destiny 2 players are upset. Oh, sorry, that's just the name of the folder Paul keeps all these stories under. Destiny 2 players haven't been buying enough fancy outfits from the Eververse store because Bungie has found a new way to monetize some of the game's best content, and everyone disliked that. In Destiny 2, a dungeon is essentially a 3-player mini-raid. There are only 3 in the game right now, and they're considered some of the most fun content the game has to offer. The good news is there are 3 more dungeons coming in the next year, but this time, you gotta pay. You had to pay before, that's how video games work, but now you have to pay extra because the dungeons won't be included in the upcoming Witch Queen expansion when it releases in February for $40, nor will they be included in the season pass, usually about $10. To get 2 of them, you have to buy the Digital Deluxe Edition at $80, and the 3rd dungeon comes with Bungie's 30th Anniversary Celebration Bundle on its own $25, or you can get a big bundle of everything for $100. Bungie's community manager confirmed on Reddit that they will also be offering, quote, a separate way for you to purchase the dungeons in the future, before he was drowned in a sea of downvotes, presumably never to return. The fact that a previously included piece of content is being spun out into its own purchase is bad enough, but the way Destiny handles content like this is gonna make it awful, because you'll be readying up with your fire team, set to do a dungeon, and then the game is going to tell you, oh wait, no, you can't, because someone on the fire team only $40 likes the game, but doesn't $80 like the game, and then you gotta have that conversation with your friends. Solidly 80% of playing Destiny 2 is just decrypting and interpreting all of the game's seemingly endless batshit currencies. Nobody wants to have to also talk about dollars, or guilders, or whatever Beach likes talking about.
Pokemon Legends Arceus has just released a new trailer, and boy howdy, is it unwatchable! The game will apparently be filmed in black and slightly less black, and use a VHS filter similar to watching 5th generation copies of Vision of Escaflowne. But don't worry, in order to guide you through this scrambled cable channel hellscape, the game will have fully voiced audio clips, detailing exactly what your character is seeing and doing, such as, wow, it really is out here, and I'm going to try climbing up there, where there could be anything from a tree to a mountain to a Firewatch tower maybe? It's impossible to tell because the trailer is shadows upon shadows. To help you keep track of your character's health, the audio thoughtfully provides continuous heavy breathing directly into the microphone that really puts the ass in ASMR. But wait, character health? That's right, according to the trailer, it's possible to just straight up die in this game, most likely to Pokemon attack, but probably also because you kept exhaling so hard you forgot how to breathe in and just fucked out you own life in a dark cave near a Growlithe or something else with a red-tipped tail. 8 out of 10 would catch 'em all again.
Activision Blizzard, still subject to legal action from California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing, are trying to squirm their way out of the whole thing. As we reported last week, not that anyone was able to see it. You may not even be able to see this now. Tell you what, when you can see this, make sure you've also gone to see the last episode so that you have the whole context without me having to explain it all again now, and instead I'll use this time to say all of this. Right. As we reported last week, the DFEH is trying to stop Activision Blizzard from settling that other lawsuit from the Federal Equal Employment Opportunity Commission because the terms would allow Activision Blizzard to destroy evidence the DFEH needs for their lawsuit, and the EEOC said that wasn't legal because some of their lawyers were now working for the DFEH, and that's not allowed for some reason. Anyway, because of all of that, now Activision Blizzard is trying to say that this whole thing is grounds to have the entire shebang dismissed. If successful, it would be a massive own goal for governmental oversight, but the DFEH doesn't think that's going to happen. In their own response, they call Activision Blizzard's request an, quote, improper procedural vehicle based on a substantive non-issue. And, my favorite part, because you know I love a good verbal smackdown shrouded in legalese, the DFEH continues, quote, Activision can point to no actual or even hypothetical harm. The alleged harm that the DFEH's lawyers obtained confidential information about Activision Blizzard during their employment with the EEOC is simply the typical harm of being a litigation defendant. Which is to say, no, Activision Blizzard, this isn't weird or extreme, it's just what happens when people hold you accountable.
There's a new Metroid game out and it absolutely slaps. So naturally the internet is abuzz with people talking about how good Other M was and how you should totally give it a chance. And what do you mean it tries to shoehorn in a bunch of unbelievable drama for the sake of drama? I never liked the idea of Samus being all independent to begin with, and I think she needs a strong, angry man to control her at all times, and maybe that man should be me. Why can't I just play as Adam instead? That's who should actually be in the suit. It's weird that as a boy, I have to play as a girl, especially a secret girl, and yes, it's a secret because all characters in a video game are boys unless they're wearing a girl's bathing suit, so that means maybe they were trying to hide something from me, but I paid $80 for this game. So I deserve to know the truth from the get-go. You should have put Samus in a skin-tight blue suit with a ponytail from the beginning, send tweet. So that's largely how I feel about that development. And hey, if you like Other M, but you're not like all that other shit I just said, then I wasn't talking about you. Like what you like. I'm not indefensible. I like titty anime. Graham?
Well, so do I, but I don't make a big deal about it. The Xbox Series X mini fridge finally appeared for sale and then disappeared immediately as it sold out in a staggeringly brief time. The fridge, merely the latest in an ongoing meme embracement of how the Xbox Series X looks like a fridge, holds up to 12 cans and features 2 snack shelves and a USB port for charging your phone. The listing on Target is now being review bombed, with both negative reviews and even a bunch of memes shitting up the FAQ section. The otherwise reasonably priced $100 desk fridge would have ensured that your next hit of Halo Infinite Edition Blackberry Goji Rockstar energy drink was never outside of arm's reach, but is now being sold by scalpers on eBay for as high as $400. Only slightly more expensive than an actual Xbox Series X. So, I don't know, seems like you could just hollow one out and use whatever CPU cooling is already in there.
I mean, most people already use their PlayStation 5 as a space heater.
No, again, that was just a space heater that looked suspiciously similar to a PlayStation 5.
If you hooked up the Play Heater 5 to the fridge box, who do you think would win?
Damn it, I am not ready for the meta console wars.
Coming up, Resident Evil 4 VR is out for Oculus Quest, so now you can finally really experience what it's like to have your face eaten by a zombie. For added verisimilitude, bring along a friend to stuff into a dumpster whenever things get scary.
Destiny...
Good?
I couldn't.
just needed the sound effects. You didn't have to actually take your
I need to sound realistic.
By the way, thanks to Foxmar and Sniper Pumpkin for getting me an image for the Destiny story, because I tried to Google it to save Paul the trouble, because Paul makes all the graphics, by the way. I don't know if we talked about that. But to save you the trouble, I was trying to Google the shot of like when you try to join an activity that only one player hasn't bought.
I was trying to Google that too, but I didn't know what the word. I was like, Destiny 2 gate.
Yeah, money
Pay
gate.
gate.
Yeah. So I was like, I went into the Discord and was like, hey, I can't find this on Google. Does anyone like have one of these? And Foxmar and Sniper were like, we could just make one, because I think like if one of them, because the expansions don't carry over by platform, even though there is cross play.
Oh, I see.
So like this is true for me as well. Like I have all the expansions on PC, but I don't have like Forsaken on PlayStation.
Okay.
So if I am playing with someone else and they're doing an activity from that expansion on PC, fine. If I'm on my PlayStation, then it goes, someone on this fire team's being a little bastard.
They don't even say who.
You little cheap fuck.
that's the annoying part, right? Is it's just like it's like it'll tell you if it's you, it'll be like this requires this. But if it's someone else, it'll be like someone on the fire team doesn't have
There's only 3 people though.
Yeah.
So if it's not you, then you know it's one of the 2.
But then you have to be like, all right, who didn't give Bungie an extra $40?
See, now you're being mad about this, but what this is Bungie adding in a social deduction experience. You can all have your little game of Among Us every time you try to play an expansion.
Everyone queues up for the raid, because that's 6 players.
Yeah. Which one of you is the imposter that didn't pay enough?
Yeah.
Why do we do all of our best writing after the show?
Oh, I don't think that's true.
That's fair. No, I did some really good writing today before the show. So thoughtfully provides continuous heavy. Thinking of Heather the whole time. Must be it.
Thinking of you, Heather.
Yeah. And how much you probably going to hate the next story I do. See, I guess I should also say that all of what you heard me say in the Metroid Other M story is literally how I like sarcastically, that's me being completely sarcastically about how I feel about this. Like, God damn it, am I sick of hearing people talk about, no, you should really try Metroid Other M because it's super good game and everything about it is wonderful and all these things all the drama is really important. I'm like, you know what? No, that the ship has sailed a long time ago on that, and we don't need to try to relitigate that in the course of whatever. And I'm glad that you like a thing. I really am glad you like a thing. And I haven't played Other M. And someday I will. I might even stream it.
Oh.
I don't know, but I haven't played it yet. I do want to because I do like a good Metroid. I'm almost done Dread. And I just kind of feel like I'm not comfortable with anything that reduces my 6'8" trans girl alien kicking badass to somebody who has to be told what to do by some dude in an army or organization somewhere. Samus has always felt to me like I go out and I do shit, and somebody and then I go look at a computer. It's like, you can go do this thing now because
she's a bounty hunter.
Yeah, she's a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
So it was like I just kind of felt like she was always operating on her own, and so it felt really weird to hear that it's not.
It was
that way.
particularly for the upgrades.
Yeah.
Right, when it would be like
because it's not stuff that she's picking up. The upgrades she has.
Yeah.
and then you have to wait for this guy to be like, all right, activate the thing that makes it so that you're invulnerable to lava now.
I might not enjoy this then.
You might not.
In Dread, I did pick up some powerbomb upgrades that I couldn't use because I didn't unlock the powerbomb yet. But because of how they give out upgrades in Dread, it's like that seems to be an unlocked ability, and you have to get it through the means of unlocking the ability. But it's like I have this thing, and I don't know what it is, or I don't have the way to set it.
Is it because you did thing in the wrong order? Is this your fault?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not supposed to be able to get that stuff, except that if you are in the area, you're like, oh shit, I can actually get that powerbomb upgrade. It's like, I can do that, so I did. But it does say you don't know what this is, you can't use it yet.
I mean, I guess it's the equivalent. It's like you have a bunch of like, clips for your gun.
Yes.
But you don't have the gun. You don't have the thing that shoots the power bombs.
Exactly.
That happens in Resident Evil a lot. It's like, oh, I have a thing of acid rounds for...
I haven't seen this weapon yet. Yeah.
Guess I'll take this.
Spoiler that I'm going to get an acid gun, I guess.
It's for the grenade launcher. The grenade launcher is like flame rounds and acid rounds and rounds.
Round rounds.
ground rounds, pork rounds, merry-go-rounds, and round we go.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
And round Rex.
Round Rex. What?
Yeah, round Rex. You know, swirkles almost. Do you know what a Squirtle?
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke. Please call my wife. Give her my best. Tell her I said hello.
My best is hello.
Today, we have these acid rounds, but I don't know what they're for. Maybe ChillPoint. Yeah, I guess it should really be yesterday.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. See, I ignited a whole furor in the chat about the Samus Aran is a trans woman, and it is largely, let's be honest, it is largely headcanon, but it's not my headcanon. It's our headcanon. It is largely it is largely an idea shared by a grand community that took a single comment to mean like that you said that this person was a boy but then became a girl, and then therefore it's like, oh, you didn't put that in the text of the manual or in the game, but because it was said by developer, we like this idea, we will adopt it writ large within the fandom. And not everybody has.
Yeah,
and I hope it's not something people get into arguments about.
Yeah, as we all know, Beesh hates it when something he says on CheckPoint results in arguments in chat or in the YouTube. I mean, we don't know what the YouTube comments would be saying about this. Who knows? We can probably guess, though.
Yeah, yeah. I encourage everybody to do your own research.
Study the facts.
Oh, fuck.
Anyway, hey, everybody. Welcome to ChillPoint. That was the episode of CheckPoint that we recorded yesterday. If you're just joining us, unfortunately, we're currently having some issues with the YouTubes, with our YouTube channel. Small update on that in the sense that there has been some movement.
Yeah.
In the sense that YouTube and our MCN have acknowledged that there is a problem, have looked at the page and been like, yeah, that's not good. We're
now
like,
we
yes,
understand what you're talking about.
Yes. Now that we've had a week, I'm glad that you acknowledge this. So it looks like there may be a solution. It'll probably be stupid though.
Yeah.
So anyway,
it may take even more time to reach the solution. But what we do understand is it's not going to be a manually upload every single goddamn video back onto YouTube type of solution. Everything's still there. You just can't see it, right? So just
the channel, the channels of communication are open, which is nice. At least we're not at we've passed the just getting automated messages from YouTube stage, which takes a while to get past.
Yeah. And what's funny is that, I mean, for anyone who's asking, because people have been asking for updates, like, well, what's going on? What's happening? It's like, we're not in a situation where we can just say that it's like, oh, well, this happened and this happened. Like, it's like, we're not, I don't think it's a good idea to be completely transparent about that in the first place, because it's like, there's nothing that, and we appreciate the fans are interested, but it's like, there's nothing that any of you in our audience can actually do to assist in the process unless you work at YouTube. There's nothing you can do, I think, to help.
If there is.
And
let us know if you do work for YouTube and you're in a
we need to know. Yeah. But also, when it is solved, it will be solved. Like, it'll be like, oh, it has now been finished and done, and you can see all the videos again. It's not a thing of like, here's what's going to happen, here's the thing, here's that, you're going to see this, you're going to see that. We don't have any of that information anyway. It's like, when it gets solved, it's going to get solved. So you'll probably find out it's working before you even see us post a video saying, hey, it's all working again.
It'll probably happen like in the middle of the night, so we won't even notice. Anyway, Let us move
It's the
on
middle of the night somewhere.
and talk about this week's the episode of Checkpoint that you just watched or watched previously if you watched the version that was uploaded to our Twitch earlier last night. And starting with the Destiny 2 story, which
Yeah.
I was talking with somebody about this today about, you know, the idea of like, you know, the monetization of DLC for games, right? Like, and how different different companies have figured out different things, and sometimes there's this weird situation where sometimes free DLC actually makes you more money than paid DLC, because a free DLC, people then gives you get some publicity and people buy the original game and get the DLC. And sometimes, and because there's so much kind of negative attention against paid DLC, sometimes it's actually better to do free DLC and just have more people buy the original game and do it that way. Anyway, I think we can all agree that what you don't do is all of the ways of doing DLC at the same time.
Yeah, it's like it is.
Like, yeah,
I don't know if it's confusing per se, but it does feel like it's like I have many options, but Jesus, I feel like I have so many options.
like Destiny costs money to actually buy. It's not a free to play game.
Yeah.
It has like paid for DLC. It has season passes, which don't get you all the DLC.
Yeah.
It has, and then it also has these like special edition bundles that contain some but not all of the DLC.
Yeah.
And then they do the like seasonal updates, which you also have to. It's just very confusing. If it's very not only confusing but also, you know, bad in terms of the amount of money you have to spend. And I feel like they know it's bad, and so they're doing as many things as possible to obfuscate actually how much you have to pay for things.
Well, and what got me about this? I'm gonna sneeze at some point, so I apologize. But oh shit! Excuse me. What got me about this was that there's 3 dungeons coming out, and they all sound like they're supposed to be, but at least what the way that it says in the story is that they're all part of the Witch Queen expansion. But then why aren't all 3 of them in the Witch Queen expansion? Clearly, they're not all part of the same expansion. But that's one thing. But then the other thing is that when you're releasing new stuff like that, rarely are you going to find somebody who says, well, I want these 2 things, but I don't want the other one. Or I only want this one and I don't want the other 2 things. When nobody knows anything about any of the 3 of them, because they're all purportedly the same thing. They're all a new dungeon. And so if I was playing a game and it's like, well, we're locking this one dungeon behind a different bundle, but these 2 dungeons are behind this bundle, and you're like, well, why would I only ever want to play the one dungeon if I know there's these other 2 as well? Don't I also want to have access to play all 3? But then also my fire team might decide that they want to buy both or a different bundle, so we have to coordinate. Or if I'm playing with multiple fire teams and I have to have access to everything, and I mean that's what people are looking for. It's like when you're on the DLC train, it's like I want to acquire the things when I want to acquire them, and then if I want to stop getting DLC, then I want to say, okay, I want to stop getting it at this point, unsubscribe, DLC train, and then be like, everything that comes after that, then I don't want to get. So this idea of buying things at different times in different ways from different places, I think has always just pissed people off anyway, right? Like, oh, go to Best Buy and get the exclusive, but then also go to GameStop and get the exclusive, and now I have 2 copies of the same game. That kind of horse shit. Nobody likes that.
Yeah, like it feels like what they like, because of course the thing that gets you the big bundle of everything costs $100, right?
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
But I feel like if that's what they want, like, couldn't this just be like a $10 a month subscription? Like, that's basically what they want from their users is $10 a month. They just can't say that for whatever reason. And it's like, why? I mean, I don't play Destiny, but it's like, what does a season pass get you if not the DLC from that season?
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it too. Like hearing that, well, there's a season pass. It's like, well, the season pass is only like $10 a month or whatever, and like, okay, but then they're also developing newer, bigger chunks of the game to throw in, and they want to make money on that. I understand that. That's a good impulse. That means that you can hopefully make your game a sustainable point of interest for people. But the ways in which they're releasing it just seems so weird. And I guess it's like if you had the Witch Queen dungeons, we're doing the 2 Witch Queen dungeons. Here you go, and it's also like we're doing a extra dungeon for the 30th anniversary, and it was sold like that. If that's how it felt, then I could kind of understand that too.
If
But
I mean,
it doesn't sound like it.
it would be cool if this like 30th like if it was like the 30th anniversary dungeon, and it was like, you know, like a marathon themed dungeon or something.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
it was actually just like a super like Bungie dungeon as opposed to related to Destiny at all. Like
What we
that
call a
would,
bungeon.
that
Yeah.
would be cool.
Yeah. So this sucks, and it puts me in mind of like Animal Crossing New Horizons announcing.
Oh, that is
we're
actually
doing
what
it.
it's going to be?
Sorry.
Sorry, people are saying that is actually what it's going to be.
Oh, cool. Okay, so it isn't just like this is all part of the Witch Queen, but we split the Witch Queen thing up, even though we shouldn't. Like, no, it's literally okay. That makes a little more sense then. I can understand why you divide things up like that. Because you do want to say the Witch Queen expansion should cost you X number of dollars, and that's what this is for. It is a bit of a bad feel when you find out that it's like, oh, I have to pay X amount of dollars for this continuous. Yeah, like the New Horizons thing of we're doing a massive free update. Hey, so you know, this is the last major free update you're getting, which means there might be a couple of minor free updates here and there, but largely like probably nothing too major. Well, no, it wouldn't by definition. Extensive, I guess, is what I mean to say. And then immediately after that, in the New Horizons Direct, where they said, "And we're doing this new thing," and you're like, "Wow, you really you put a partition, so to speak, between this is the free thing." But what's this new thing? And at that point, you're like, well, what the hell does this mean? If that's the last free update, what is this? Oh, it's a paid update. It's a paid DLC. I get it. Like you're a little more prepared for that.
I think there is an interesting thing with these games where there is a sort of in some ways like a consumer training process.
Yeah.
And it's like that every game has in terms of like, you know, if you for instance like Animal Crossing, if you're releasing all your DLC for free and then suddenly you make people pay for it, people are like, what the hell?
Yeah, I don't like that.
You know.
Yeah.
Like but if you say if you have a thing where it's like every update costs $10 and like that's established in the community or whatever,
Yeah.
then people are like, you know, people are not okay with that, but like anybody who wasn't okay with that has left already, I guess. Is the thing.
That your community is prepared for it because there's consistency.
Yeah. I think there's that aspect of like, if a thing used to be free and now it's not, it's being taken away from you, even though you weren't getting it in any way before.
Yeah.
And so there's a bit of I think there are a lot of studios that kind of shoot themselves in the foot by being, you know, ironically being like too generous at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then people get mad at them for not being too generous for trying to sort of do paid DLC later on. And I'm not saying necessarily that the consumers are wrong in this case. Like I get that too, right? Like you feel if something was previously free and now it isn't, it feels wrong. Even though if intellectually you're like, well, I get that it took people and time and resources to make this thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so obviously complaining about Destiny is one of the big things that you do in Destiny. Although I will say my favorite part of the story from a graphical standpoint is that final graphic of the when Graham is talking about the the endless batshit currencies. There's a graphic up which shows all the like various collectible items that people have had to, which is just like in somebody's inventory. But the greatest part about that is that was from an article. That was just from an article on some some website with the headline, "These 18 in-game currencies Destiny is going to be removing."
Right.
And it's still confused. Like, they removed 18 in-game currencies, and it still has too many currencies that people are confused about.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, when you get right down to it, when you say something like, this is a material, it's meant for crafting such and such or so and so, it's like you're trading a thing for another thing. As far as the game is concerned, it is kind of like a currency. So you need to pay this many of X to get Y, right? So, next story.
So then, yeah, Beej's story about the Pokemon thing has been somewhat dampened by the fact that that a cleaned up
non-fucked up version
of that video has now been released. Apparently, Professor Oak went through with his super high-end CSI style tools and cleaned it up, which that is an amazing cleanup job, I gotta say.
Absolutely. Garbage in, diamond out. It's I've never seen anyone polish a turd so well. This is this is the frustrating thing though, is that okay, let's be clear, obviously. Everything I said about Pokemon Legends Arceus, according to the trailer, was just me extrapolating on what a shitty teaser that was. Right? It's like,
you were lying, Beej?
I was lying. We used to do that a lot, but it was ENN, and I never really got a chance to.
That was not a truthful interpretation?
No, not at all. I love it when I can do that. That's a lot of fun for me. So, and I hope that I'm leaning into it enough that people are like, "Oh, he's clearly kidding." But these days, not everybody knows. So I'll be very clear. I was lying, but what I also love about this is it's like I think that it was a reaction to people being like, I can't see shit in this trailer or this teaser. Well, trailer, they're treating it like a trailer, right? Where it's more of a teaser because it's trying to tell a story and it's trying not to be a part of the thing. And it's like, I bet you what happened is somebody signed off being like, that's super cool. Yeah, found footage. It rules. I love horror movies. And it's October and it's the perfect time of year. And then somebody else was like, watched it after it went up and was like, what are we doing? No, I can't see what the hell's going on. Put the cleaned up version. Like, do we have a better version of this? Put it on. Like, and then somebody got in trouble for it.
There's found footage, and then there's only, a frame visible every minute. Like, it was very, very bad.
Yeah, and I don't understand the impetus of because the thing is like from a planned perspective, I'm like I don't understand the impetus where it's like release the really bad teaser and then immediately like the next day or like within 24 hours release we made a cleaned up version. I'm like, I don't think that's a strategy. I think that's a fuck up. I think that somebody was like, we had a great idea and we released it. And then somebody else was like, you should have showed me this before you put it up. We need to release the actual thing.
Wait a minute. Did they just put out the bad version and then they put out the fixed version just after they know when we filmed CheckPoint?
Yep.
Bastards.
Like they knew we were up to something. They dragged me in.
Yeah, they were like, okay, what time is it? Okay, they'll be done filming CheckPoint now. We can put up the fixed version. It's also there's also this thing with like in the fixed thing because not only did they fix the video, but the audio, like all the audio glitches are also gone. Even the parts that are completely like fuzzed out. And the person is like, I'm going to use this weird new machine I found. Because apparently, like, video cameras don't exist in the Pokemon universe.
I guess. Well, because I think it's ancient. I think the idea is that this is taking place back in time somewhat.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really get it myself, but
I feel like they're like, we'll do a found footage thing. And then like halfway through somebody's like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. There's not going to be a camera in the time that this game is supposed to be taking place in. They're like, it's fine. We'll put a line of dialogue in it to fix it.
Yeah. But hey, marketing, there's no such thing as bad getting people to talk about your game, I guess.
Speaking of, there's no bad time to be in the news. Activision Blizzard. Yep, no such thing as bad publicity. Activision Blizzard. You just remember that. Because Activision Blizzard. Although to be honest, this story is less about Activision Blizzard themselves and more about the cluster bus that has happened between the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing. So as Graham talked about in the story, it was already kind of a recap of what was going on from last week. The new thing being that Blizzard basically was like, that thing. Yeah. Like, they're like, in Arrested Development, there's people are like, well, that's just a gimme, I guess. Well, that's a freebie.
Yeah.
Activision Blizzard lawyers are like, what they said, very bad.
Yeah.
And the legal smackdown though is pretty amazing. The idea that it's this wonderful brain melting thing of like the Activision Blizzard lawyers are complaining that the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing lawyers got access to confidential information about Activision Blizzard because the lawyers were previously working on this other case against Activision Blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
But that confidential information was supposed to be handed over to the California Department of Employment and Housing anyway.
Yeah, the DFH is supposed to have access to all that in the first place. They just happen to know that this stuff exists, and they walk over to... And it's funny, right? I don't know the whole idea of the whole case. And it is weird to be like, we were lawyers on one thing, we moved off and became lawyers for another agency. And I'm sure there is some sort of...
But in the thing responding from the California responding, they're like, as part of the agreement, when these people moved over to our department, there was a work sharing agreement explicitly in that they would share information, that we would share information. That was part of the agreement that these people moved over. But yeah, also just the idea that it's like, this suit should be thrown out because you having this information would cause harm to us.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, that is the point of this litigation against your company, is to cause harm to your company. Like, let's be honest, that's what we're trying to do here. We are attempting to harm your company in order to try to teach you a lesson.
Yeah, we are trying.
Like, yes, it's like the idea of suing some. It's like, hey, yeah, we feel that if you continue with, we're offering to sue you because we feel if you continue with your lawsuit against us, you're going to hurt us.
Yeah,
and it's like, yes, that is what we intend.
Yeah, God, and I hope they get there too. It's
So hopefully, this jurisdictional, this is such like the local cops versus the FBI thing, where it's like your jurisdiction, throw out your and turn over all your stuff to these other people, and you're always on the local cops. The local cops are always the ones who are like, but we know what's really going on.
Yeah, and the FBI's like, yes, but we're taking over, and I'm the FBI, so I'm arrogant.
This is actually the other way around, weirdly.
Yeah.
But
It's funny too because it's like what this is, I mean, and it's already been brought up in chat. It's like, who's getting paid off of the EEOC? That's the first thing you think of, because it's like, hey, government probably corrupt. So there is this sense that like the EEOC. We talked about what I think is the more likely scenario, almost what I think is the more likely scenario. That it's like, it's not that someone is getting paid off, though the possibility exists to be like, hey, can you just kind of push this through the thing real fast and get a settlement real fast, and let's get out from underneath this and build you like a good settlement, and like, let's move on. But I still think that what's going on here is whoever was at the EEOC that left for the DFEH, if there were factions involved, there were people who were like mad about those lawyers who left as well, and are like, F those guys for trying to, for leaving us, and then F them for trying to take this case to somewhere else, and F them for trying to fuck up our case. And quite frankly, hey, if they're going to do that, then we're going to fuck up their case too. And we're going to fuck up their case worse, because if we don't get the victory, then they don't get the victory. Nobody gets a victory. And who gives a shit about justice in this case? And that's the thing that's getting me, is I'm like, the EEOC does not seem like they're concerned with justice writ large. They're concerned with, I need to get this case off of my desk. We had a win. We had a settlement. We can call that a win. We can move on with our lives. I have other cases I have to deal with. And instead it's like, well, then we're not going to get that to happen. And I'm like, that the revenge aspect is like, let's be honest. That's real for people. They will do shit like that. They will shoot themselves in the foot, just, spite their legs. That was a real weird metaphor, Paul.
It's such a like a drama. It is like something from whatever, Boston Legal or something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can get their stuff together. Metroid Other M, which I'm a little sad that Heather isn't here to talk about.
Well, she did when I went and tried
to.
In you. When I asked her, she categorically refused to be on ChillPoint today with me because of the Other M story. So she was just so like mad that I would make that story, and she's just like, no, I'm not going to do it. My silent protest is I'm not going to be here. But now you know about the silent protest, and so that's all also completely bullshit. So the issue is Dread has come out. It's a brand new mainline Metroid game. And what that has reignited is, and especially because it's Metroid 5, right? It's we had Metroid 2 Return of Samus, which is also Metroid is also technically Metroid Zero Mission, but that underwent some retconning to that makes sense there. Metroid 2 Return of Samus is technically Metroid Samus Returns is the same thing there. Super Metroid is Metroid 3, Metroid Fusion is Metroid 4, and then Metroid Dread is Metroid 5. The Prime games fit in as well as part of the storyline. Nobody has a goddamn clue where to put Metroid Prime Hunters, I'm sure. Metroid Prime Federation Force was something that they got made once. And that brings us to Metroid Other M, and it's like, well, that's supposed to fit into this story, right? Is it? Does it? Can it? And there's been lots of concern for years, and frankly, I don't give a shit about Metroid Other M. Really, I will probably play it to see if it's good, but it sounded like it was not good from the way Graham was telling me, or Paul was telling me about stuff, and I was like, But it's reignited this debate about, why aren't people playing Metroid Other M? Why won't people just admit it's a good game? Why are you telling me that I'm wrong about this? Well, why are you telling me that I'm wrong about this? And it's like, holy shit, that was a game for the Wii. It's been years.
It's
like, I don't know why you all can't kind of move on and just like the things you like and be like, we've kind of come down on the fact that there will always be a schism because of this thing. Let's move on.
I mean, I feel like it's a little bit like, the people being like, the Star Wars prequels weren't actually that bad if you like go back and look at them.
Yeah.
Of course, in that case, it was because the Star Wars prequels look better in comparison to the more recent ones.
The sequels, yes.
Which is not the case with Dread. Dread is apparently quite great.
It is quite great. I quite enjoy it.
But yeah, I will say for in terms of graphics for this story, I did the graphic of the like tweet that Beige was sending. There was two alternates that I was thinking about for that. One being just the entire rant, from from the beginning of the story, entirely pasted into a tweet, but with no spaces, just
Yeah.
like one giant long thing. Or the other thing was that the text of the tweet was going to just be like, blah, blah, blah. I'm Beige. I have opinions about things.
Yeah. It's for
Yes,
anyone who's wondering,
1/X.
for anyone who's wondering, I watch a lot of on YouTube. I watch a lot of the previous late night stuff. So whatever late night with Seth Meyers or late show with Stephen Colbert. I tend to keep up on what's going on there, and I really like Seth Meyers. I like the a closer look, and I like a lot of the things that's going on there. I've been watching the Amber Ruffin show. Christ, I hope I got her name right. A little bit here and there as well, because she's a writer on Seth's staff, but she also has her own show on Peacock. And anyway, Seth does a lot of impressions, and one of his things was that's his Tucker Carlson that I was doing, was basically when Tucker Carlson is just asking questions. I'm just asking you to listen to what I'm saying, and I'm not really having much of a thing. And it's like that kind of shit over and over. And I'm like, I love that. I'm going to steal that, because that's what people do. I'm going to steal this impression and just use it for this kind of like, why are we even talking about this? We know that it's really good, and there's all these other things that I really love about this game. And
I feel like it's representative that I just assumed that was, annoying Twitter person voice, which
weirdly, yes.
These are pictures of the same thing.
Yeah.
I apologize.
That was fun.
Somebody was saying that apparently I'm quieter than you are.
Really? I mean, well, I'm just maybe naturally loud, but
Maybe I will turn myself up and turn Beige down a little bit, and we'll see if that evens out.
In terms of technical delivery, I really want to deliver that whole thing in one breath. And I knew I could do it at my desk at home when I was not reading it very loud, but when I was in front of a microphone and trying to emote and enunciate, I realized that there's no way I was going to be able to make it through. So I'm like, don't take a breath before I start, because that'll give away what's about to happen.
Yeah,
so just go as long as you can, and then take a breath and go as long as you can. It's like, that's whatever. I didn't put any commas in to show when I should stop and take a breath before my next 8 bars, but well, whatever.
Speaking of bars, we have the Xbox fridge story. Little fridges, like bar fridges, for example.
Well, even smaller than bar fridges, practically.
Yeah, it's like a mini. Yeah, it's actually smaller than a bar fridge. It's a mini fridge that you can't get, which makes the story slightly pointless. But anyway, because it's massively sold out.
Mm-hmm.
It's the thing that it's like that weird area of things that start as memes, and then they're like, but what if real?
I mean, they made the full-size fridge as a goof. I'm pretty sure, right? They did do that, I thought.
Yeah, they did. I don't know. Yeah, they did make a full-size fridge.
Yeah,
and then
one of them.
they also made like a couple of like custom ones that they sent out to, like, I think like we did a story about that. I think like The Rock had one. Because he was also promoting like he's got like a brand of energy drink or something, and so it was like Xbox and that promoted. And when I was looking for graphics for this story, I actually saw those graphics, the image, that one, and it looks different. Like it must. I think that was like a one-off custom as opposed to the production line version.
Yeah.
But yeah, 12 cans is a very small. Like this is not a big fridge.
You can buy these.
Yeah,
you can buy these already at like go to your local department store. Almost assuredly, they're going to have like a Coke can shaped one or something shaped like maybe a beer can or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen ones that are like actually like Coca-Cola branded.
Yeah, and they're basically just. I mean, I've even seen ones that are like they'll run off a 12 volt and stuff. This is what they call thermoelectric cooling. I believe, Paul, you looked that up.
Isn't
You
it?
looked up the.
Isn't it like?
I think you saw.
Isn't it like Piezo or Piezo?
It's a Peltier cooler, I think,
Peltier,
is what
yeah,
they're
right.
using. Yeah, and it's which is a really cool effect. If you want to look up Peltier cooling, it was a thing that had a brief popularity, but man, they are they're not great because they have to keep the hot side has to stay hot in order for the cold side to stay cold, which means that as it's trying to cool down everything in the fridge that you have on your desk, all of that's generating a ton of heat otherwise. So it's basically a fridge plus a space heater.
Yeah.
So that's not so bad.
It,
If
like
you
it's
need one of those things.
it's not a very efficient way of doing a fridge, but there's literally no like when the fridge
no
is that
coolant, yeah.
when a fridge is that small, there's no way to make it.
They're quiet as hell
efficient.
too. Yeah, because it doesn't have to run a compressor and stuff. You don't have to have that stuff going on. But
You don't, and also they don't want to have like a fridge that small have like Freon and stuff in it because then they
yeah. But if you're handy, you could probably get on eBay or somewhere and find a Xbox Series X that's all beat to shit or whatever, that just where everything's failed, and then go to the store and buy a $40 Coke can special, rip the innards out, shove it inside of an Xbox Series X,
yeah.
and then boom, you've got your fridge.
I was gonna say, I mean, not to ruin the joke or anything, but to ruin the joke.
Mm-hmm.
Because Graham at the ends this with Xbox Series X, that's only a little more expensive than Xbox Series X. Couldn't you just hollow one and use whatever the CPU cooler already is? That would not work, and not just because it's stupid with using a CPU cooler. Coolers for PCs are designed to bring the temperature down to ambient temperature.
Yeah.
It's very, very bad if you have a cooler that brings things cooler than ambient temperature, because then everything condenses onto your PC, which doesn't like water. So that's bad.
Yeah.
Don't do that. The ideal PC cooler is to maintain things at ambient temperature regardless of how much heat is being dumped into it by the processor. But you don't want it to go lower than ambient temperature.
There was a brief period of time, I believe, in the late 90s, early 2000s, where they were trying Peltier coolers as a way of cooling CPUs. And there was a brief moment of, is this going to work? Are we going to make this work properly? And ultimately they dumped them because there was... if you think of it as being kind of like an active heat sink, like something that's like you electrically charge it so you can get a cool side on one side and a hot side on the other side, it's like, okay, cool, that seems like that would be a great idea. But ultimately it's like, why not just put a hunk of metal that's really good at conduction and just let that do its thing? Because you just need to get the CPU down to ambient. You don't need to cool it to like -5 or something.
And I think I feel like a lot of like Linus Tech Tips and various other like tech hack channels have done things with like, we're gonna make a Peltier cooled computer, and it's always because the problem is also that Peltier has to have the hot and cold side, and so it almost always works out like once it happens, it starts equalizing the two sides because the hot side keeps warming up the cool side and the power usage goes way up, and it's not actually a very good way of doing CPU cooling. There's all sorts of other interesting uses for it, but yeah, condensation is very bad for a computer.
You're thinking of the McDLT.
And then actually the Peltier cooler might actually work for the KFC computer, right?
Yeah.
Keep your KFC nice and warm up top.
Right? Cook your cook your chicken. Yeah.
And then the final thing we had about was the Resident Evil 4 VR, which I love. The review I read of it was saying that it's like, if you have never played Resident Evil before, it's fine. Nothing special. It's kind of cool. Apparently, if you have played Resident Evil 4 before, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, I can play Resident Evil 4, but it's like good for like the controls are good.
Yeah.
It's not like tank controls.
I can choose where to aim, I have full control over all this stuff, and yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, I always love, I mean, I think that the joke there, about having is something that I feel like we probably have touched on before in other, little jokes. But yeah, the whole thing with like, I'm not sure that I want a extremely realistic VR experience of a zombie eating me. Like,
Yeah.
there are some things that maybe shouldn't be realistic.
Fair,
Like,
fair.
I
Yeah.
don't know if I want to simulate that with high detail. Because some of those, especially like when they come up behind you or something, even just having the guy on the screen, it can be like, ah!
Yeah, I guess that moves us into the things that we saw but didn't do stories on.
Starting with, we've talked about the Steam Deck, which I still cannot look at news from and be like, ooh, Steam Deck. Ooh, I wonder if there's something cool about my Elgato Stream Deck. I will
Yeah.
check this. And I'm like, oh, right, that thing. But the thing that we assumed would happen is in fact happening, which is that Steam is going to have a special little tag on games that'll be compatible. Mostly, I think it. What this? It's like compatible or
Partially compatible or
yeah,
Can you play compatible?
verified, playable, unsupported, and unverified.
Okay.
So verified meaning games that go work immediately
Yeah, yeah.
and are great. Playable meaning games that might require some configuration stuff, like the controller support doesn't work properly or something, so you have to mess around with things. Unsupported is the example they gave is like Half-Life Alyx, which is a VR game, which is
Right.
clearly not supported.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah.
hold the device right really close to your face.
Turn around a lot, like
And then obviously not unverified, meaning stuff they haven't got to yet. So the plan is they will do every game in the catalog, the Steam
Jesus.
catalog.
No, they won't. There's not enough time.
And they're if a game is playable, you can apparently will be able to like click on it and it'll show you like what aspects of the Steam Deck it has failed on, I guess. It doesn't support the controller or it doesn't do
Okay,
the controller well
Right.
or you have to like you have to like get into the game with a keyboard, but then once you're in
Or
the
a
game you
mouse
can
or-
use it. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, that's cool. And then I guess the other thing, of course, would be, like they saying, like display is one of the categories, meaning that the game has to be able to run in 1280 by 720 or 1280 by 800 mode. So
Right.
if a game is either a really, really old game and only runs in like 640 by 480 or whatever,
Right.
or it's a game that for whatever reason doesn't support widescreen 1280 by 720, it might not get verified. Or if I assume if it just doesn't run very well on the Steam because the hardware can't handle it.
Or if you can't read anything.
If it's just too squinty.
Like if it's just too, if the typefaces are too squinty, if it's like, because there's a lot of times when people are like, oh well, yeah, don't worry, our game runs in, could run in that higher resolution mode, and you go to play it, and it's like, yeah, but the typeface is just like it's like six point, and it's impossible to read because they're like, well, we were making it for like X resolution, and now that you're at Y resolution, we didn't think about having to scale our typeface. So
Yeah,
that
they
could
have
be an option.
on-screen text should be legible when the screen is held 12 inches from the face. Wait, that's really close.
Yeah, yeah.
I would hope that it's
that's
legible farther than 12 inches away.
That's 30 centimeters. Do I have a
That's a
ruler
foot,
in here?
That's a foot away.
Yeah, 30 centimeters from your face is like,
That's
like
pretty close.
Though I guess like that's reasonably like, okay, let's be honest, nobody plays like this. We all are going to play like this. We're all going to ruin our goddamn necks. So it's like the assumption that you're going to have the thing down like that is like that's about where you're looking anyway in a natural hold.
No letter should be less than 9 pixels in height. Oh, so it's actually really specific.
That's good.
12
That's awesome.
pixels is recommended.
Good.
So anyway, that's cool. It seems like a neat. I'm very interested to see what it'll be like. I think it's still just in like people. I know some channels and things have like some whatever influencer types have got their hands on them, but I don't think it's publicly available yet. Although speaking of handheld devices, the Analog Pocket.
Yeah.
Is getting its own OS. So the Analog Pocket is basically like a really, really, really fancy Game Boy.
Yeah.
Like it is a thing that looks like a Game Boy, except and it can play Game Boy games and GBA games and various other console games.
Yeah.
And it's got the controls of a Game Boy, but it's a custom made thing, FPGA based emulation. So not even I guess theoretically it's not even emulation. It's actually like
kind of like the sense of hardware emulation, where it's like we can make our hardware behave however you need the hardware to actually look like to the game.
And it's also the LCD is like an OLED, 1080p screen and stuff.
Yeah.
Although the interesting thing about this is one, it's actually set up to require you like it's got a slot in it for the games, and you have to actually have like that's where you put the games in. It has an SD slot, but apparently it doesn't actually load ROMs off that.
Nice.
Or like it can't.
Yeah, because they're interested in being retro hardware. They don't want to be pirate hardware, right?
Yeah. They what's the line is Analog OS is built for being purpose built to being the definitive scholarly operating system for playing and experiencing the portable video game medium.
So this kind of has the whispers of MAME about it, where MAME is like the larger part of MAME is we want to be able to multi-arcade machine emulations. Like we want to be able to preserve all the different forms of all the different arcade machines that were ever out there. It's not simply just about we want an easy way to play Black Tiger in 1943. I mean, that's part of it, but part of it is also like, did you know they made 12 different versions of the Simpsons arcade game? Well, we want to show that how all of them would work and make sure that all the hardware can be represented and do those kind of things. And this sounds like a similar kind of thing where it's like we want to be the best, most accurate, proper playable experience for portable machines.
So, as a side note, there just in the interest of full disclosure, I guess, there have been some questions and issues about the analog device. It's currently way behind on their shipping estimates and stuff. I don't know if it's because they've been working on the Analog OS or whether COVID related everybody's got hardware issues these days, so it's not surprising. But they have gotten a fair amount of blowback on that lately, especially when they came out with this, and then people are like, "So this is what you've been doing?" And they were like, "No, we haven't. There's other reasons why we can't ship you your thing yet, but we're working on it. We promise." And then people are like, "But you promised a couple times before that." And so, that's the thing. That being said, the company behind it is, they've made a bunch of other stuff, and they have definitely shipped other things.
Yeah.
The fact that it is sort of physical media requires the physical media is kind of a turnoff for a lot of people. But I thought this thing is interesting because one of another criticism I've heard is that it's cheaper and possibly better to do some of the like skookum hardware upgrades to an existing Game Boy, right? Which is kind of what Bija's doing right now. In fact,
Yeah, actually, it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. But it's. I mean, I just dropped $200 Canadian on a bunch of upgrades to a standard wide Game Boy Advance. I don't have all the parts yet because some of them are coming from China, and that's going to take a very long time to come from China. But yeah, that's a thing that I'm hoping to do at some point in the future.
I mean, this thing does go for 200 US, so
Yeah,
not that much. So your move was not that much cheaper, but
no, exactly. Like I saved about 20% overall, but also maybe I'll get my screens and everything from China before the Pocket even arrives on the whatever. But yeah, then you have to kind of measure that. It's like, is it actually worth it to be like, I want the real deal, or is it, do you want the Pocket? Is it the form factor you want? Is it the thing you want it to do?
And then you also of course have the like Game Boy of Theseus problem. At what point, how many parts of your Game Boy can you replace and still consider it to be an original Game Boy?
Well, apparently all I'm gonna have left of this when I'm done is the motherboard. It's gonna be the only part that's original. It'll be quite the thing.
Now, this is a fun story, a story that I quite liked about. The Crisis Remastered trilogy is coming out on Switch.
What? The underpowered Nintendo Switch must be a cloud game, Paul.
Oh, you are incorrect. It is not a cloud game. And in fact, apparently it's really good. Like, it looks really nice. Which is great. Like, I mean, yes, of course, Crisis is like, what, 15, 11,
13
years old now.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's this, and this is the remastered one, right? So the fact that it's the remastered indicates how old it is. But it's always been like, Crisis was always the like, sure, your computer is powerful, but can it run Crisis? Like,
yeah.
Crisis was like, for 5 years or so, as somebody who you write a lot of video game news or video jokes about video game things. Crisis was like the go-to. Is just like, it's like, if
it's
you
your
want
benchmark.
If you want to talk about confusing story, you talk about Kingdom Hearts. If you want to talk about a really hard game to render, it's something that requires a really tough computer, you talk about Crisis. Even though it's been surpassed for many years, it still has that like name recognition as people remember. I feel like people remember that more about Crisis more for that than for the actual game itself. It looked really pretty and it broke people's computers.
For like, I think 6 or 7 years after Quake 3 Arena came out, Quake 3 Arena was still like it's like you still ran all sorts of benchmarking tests that always included Quake 3 Arena, because everyone's like, I don't know about this T-Rex demo, or I don't know anything about this like other Geekbench, whatever. They could be synthetic, they can do whatever, but for a fact that Quake 3 Arena is always Quake 3 Arena, and whether it's running 147 frames a second or 283 frames per second, it's like, that at least is telling me something. It's like, right, you don't know how it does in modern games, but at least it tells you about this is what it can do.
But the reviews are coming in on because it just came out, and the reviews are coming in, and apparently it's really good. As if you like, the game is what it is, which is lots of people really like it, and it seems like a really neat game. I haven't played it myself, but it seems like super fun. But more importantly, it is apparently a very well done port. The idea that if you take the people who know what they're doing and take some care in it, can do really great things with the Switch hardware. I mean, sure, the Switch can't handle the graphical powerhouse of Kingdom Hearts, but it can do Crisis.
Yeah. It definitely cannot do a game that ran on the PlayStation 2, apparently, but it can handle Crisis. So,
anyway, That's mostly just a dig on Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
There, another like update on a story that we had been following for a long time, and then it dropped off the map. But there's been a little burst of information on the whole GameStop stock thing, because it turns out actual legitimate news agencies were also interested in it, especially, and also, for instance, the SEC was interested in it.
Weird that.
And so they, and a 45-page report has come out that they've been presumably working on for the last little while about what the heck just happened. And one of the interesting aspects of it is they think they one of the conclusions, or one of the things that was suspected, was that there was a ton of short sellers on the stock, and then all the sort of meme people from Reddit or wherever jumped on it, and so the short sellers couldn't get their stocks, and that shot the price way up. And according to this report, that was actually not the case. There was a comparatively small amount of short sellers trying to do stuff. Obviously, there was some stuff. There was some aspect, because there were some big hedge funds that had some public problems.
Yeah.
But apparently it was not actually that much of a contributor to the whole thing. What's fascinating, of course, is how the reaction to that because of course the people who were doing this sort of stuff on Reddit and things haven't really stopped. Like, it's still kind of going. I mean, it's not as prominent now, but the stock is still a lot higher than it should be. And the takeaway that a lot of the people who are deeply invested in this stock have taken from this is not that this short selling thing wasn't an issue, so the premise that they were buying the stock on was false. What they got from this was that this short squeeze, where all these companies that are selling it short are going to have to pay, hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
And it's going to be even bigger when it does happen. So we all got to get back on this train. So I feel like it's one of those things where either way it would have been confirmation of what they were doing. But anyway.
Like, I'd also heard that one of the hedge funds that was shorting GameStop ended up having to close.
Yeah, there was a thing where at least one hedge fund had to be closed or bailed out, or there was something very bad that happened. So there was at least something going on there. But at least according to this SEC report, which obviously, if you are one of the people who is deeply invested in this, is full of lies.
Yeah.
And all part of the conspiracy, except for the parts that you agree with, which are true. But at least according to this, there wasn't the level of backroom dealings, nefariousness that
The insider trading
people were suspecting there would be. The people that have actually benefited from this the most, of course, is GameSpot or GameStop.
Yeah.
Because they've actually been releasing more. They've actually been issuing more stock, which normally would tank your stock price, right?
Yes.
If you just issue stock, you're effectively printing money, right? It would just tank your stock price. But because people are buying it still, they're like issuing. They're like, and this might, I don't know about like save the company, in the sense that I feel like the company doesn't even know. It's like, what are we as a company now? Are we just like these people who, like, what do we do? It's like we're possibly okay in terms of cash flow now, but it's not cash flow from an actual business. So we should be doing something with it. And so it's like, how do we do this? do we all just take it and run? Which is possibly what they're going to do. Who knows?
Yeah, Christ. Anyway.
Doggies.
Oh, yeah.
Did I get your attention? So this is, I got to say, I'm mixed about this story. There's apparently going to be a game coming out for, is it mobile?
Yes.
It looks like a mobile.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a rail shooter mobile, yeah.
Yeah. That stars Crypto and Ace, the super dog and the bat dog from DC Comics.
Bat Hound, I think, is his actual name. Yeah.
As superheroes. Apparently they like talk, or at least Crypto talks.
Yeah, sure does.
Which doesn't seem right to me.
Has a hero's voice as well.
Yeah, I don't remember. I thought the whole idea with the dog was that they were like super intelligent but still a dog. But maybe I guess Crypto is a Kryptonian dog.
I think it has to do with because it's the DC Legion of Super Pets. I think is the
Right.
I think is the
League of Super Pets: The Adventures of Crypto and Ace is the full title.
And so they're getting this game, and it's just a very simple rail shooter, very bright colors, looks like very simple to play. You're the dog, and you're flying along, and you're zapping things with your heat vision, and apparently you can punch enemies, which is weird because I'm like, dogs don't make fists, but sure, whatever. And 'cause you're not gonna have them grab with the mouth and like tear a throat out or whatever. It's for kids. This is a tie-in with, I believe, a movie that's coming. And this is another this is a DC property we are turning into a movie in hopes to build a franchise out of, perhaps. And so this is the game that, because I haven't heard anything about a movie coming out. This game was the first I heard that this was even a thing.
A Warner Brothers kids movie will be coming out in the summer.
Right? Like
this
is a hype generator is what this is.
Yeah. When I posted this story in the for the story thing, I was my take was like I was just disappointed that it's like, oh, it's just like a rail shooter thing.
Yeah.
It's like what if this was like a Nintendogs thing, or like you play Batman, you're still Batman, but it's Batman like training Ace the Bat Dog to be the Bat Dog. So you have to train the dog to, go after bad guys. And then, when he does good, you can give him like scratches or whatever Batman does to encourage Bat Dog. And then you can he like goes out on, you can like send him out on missions, or you can go out on missions with him. And comes to like basically like Nintendogs, but with like a combat portion.
Right.
Like that would be awesome.
Yeah, you send Crypto out, and Crypto's like, oh no, there's an out of control bus, and Crypto like you have to like try to like run after it and intercept it and like stop the bus from hitting a baby carriage or something. Very traditional Superman stuff. And then when he does a good job, he comes back and it's like, oh, good tummy rubs for you. Do you want a super biscuit? You can bite through these, but normal dogs can't.
I also I'm pretty sure. I mean, in the trailer is just shows Crypto.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like Ace the Bat Hound, in the same way that Batman is just like a regular guy, Ace the Bat Hound is like a regular, well-trained, smart dog. I don't think Ace has like superpowers.
Right.
It's just he's just an unusually smart dog that, is that helps Batman out in things. But so I don't quite know. I feel like he and Crypto seems to be just like a person basically. So I don't know if they would get along that well. I don't know. Maybe we need like Ace we did like Peter Parker's like bodega cat. Could be in there too.
Right. Just because they called it Spider-Man, right? It was the name of that cat. So
right, yeah.
Wait, that'll be Marvel then. That's a weird crossover for pets.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, well.
Well, it could be like a multiverse kind of scenario.
Sure, yeah.
Catwoman's got to have like a cat, right?
Multiple cats, probably, yeah.
I feel like Catwoman is. I mean, I don't know the thing, but I feel like it's weird that she doesn't have like a specific like cat sidekick.
Yeah.
She like
actually, now
sure
you
she
mention it.
like she usually like has cats like around at her base,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
she doesn't have like specific cat who's the Catwoman cat. All right, what else we got? Oh yeah, the Assassin's Creed Discovery Tour for the Viking Age
Right.
is out, which continues to be like a legitimately cool thing that Ubisoft does with the Assassin's Creed games, not to diminish the value of learning tools. I would guess that they don't make a lot of money on the Discovery Tour stuff.
I'm pretty sure nobody would want to buy this anyway because they took all the nudity out. But it, as an educational tool, like apparently available for schools and whatnot, as a means of like, hey, let's walk around and show you what this area is like. That's pretty neat. Glad to see another one joining the family, I guess, because you have Paris from
Well, it's the you have it,
Notre Dame, or
no. Well, no. There's the three of the like modern ones have these discovery modes. The
right.
yeah, there's the Egypt and Greece and now the Viking Age.
Right.
They also did a separate thing specifically for the Notre Dame, which one of the Assassin's Creeds just happened to take place in Paris, and so they had a thing for that, so they released a special thing for that. But
Right.
they've been doing these for the last couple games, and it's a neat idea. You can just like wander around the world, both just for interest, and then also there's like informational things. I'm assuming I haven't actually played the Viking one, but I'm assuming stuff where you can learn about Vikings or learn about all your misconceptions about Vikings. I feel like a lot of the text bubbles are like, no, they didn't have the horn helmet
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
How many times?
Meanwhile, in Animal Crossing, I'm dressed up as a Viking and I'm wearing a horned helmet with it. Don't know why that happened.
I mean, to be fair, like the Animal Crossing outfits are not like realism. Historical realism is not like the main driving factor behind those.
The sheer amount of Japanese, like traditional Japanese clothing is extensive, and I'm like, cool. But then also Viking top and horned helmet. Yar! It's like, fuck. You could have done a little more work. Whatever.
And also yar, the sound that's immediately associated with Vikings.
Yeah.
Yar, I be a Viking, says I.
And do we have anything left?
No Man's Sky is getting a cool update. Part of their it's actually so they're getting another one of their title updates. You know, we were talking earlier about different DLC things. No Man's Sky is in the like, we're just going to give everything away. I feel like the No Man's Sky has such a low
Reputation?
well, I feel like their reputation is, I feel like, actually pretty good, but they have very little self-confidence.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
They're like
They're esteemed.
They still want people to like them.
Yeah.
They're still suffering from from the original, backlash. So now they just give away. But so they did this thing, their new event or new adventure or new expedition, it's called. Which is a new thing that they've been doing, which are like a little bit more directed things. And it's called Emergence. Travelers have to cleanse planets of cursed dust and hunt the Titanic sandworms. Which it's like
It's just in time for the 23rd anniversary of Tremors.
Yeah, right. Well, the take I had this was like, this will be perfect for you have to cleanse the planet of all the Titanic sandworms. This will be a
Yes.
perfect tie-in with the new Dune movie, said executive who has not read the Dune books.
Now, if you can layer sand trout on your body and become the god emperor of the planet, or really basically the system, the known galaxy for 3,000 years, then I'm totally on board with that. You
Yeah,
give
yeah.
me a Lido 2 expansion, I might play No Man's Sky at this point. But
Yeah.
they say you can ride the sandworms. People are saying in chat. Doodles the Great actually says, "I'm like, cool. All right, you can ride the worm, but also you're supposed to kill it." I feel like we're mixing a few things here, but whatever.
Also, in tie as a tie-in in a slightly related thing, as a tie-in for Halloween, they've been there's some special cosmetic things you can get, like the ghastly trail customization for your jetpack, which so that your jetpack, instead of firing flames,
Fire and smoke.
ejects gooey fluid and tiny worms. Presumably at very high velocity, so that you go flying the other direction.
That's awesome.
Also gross.
Yeah, just like it's like you can't do that on television down here. It's like I'm just gonna take off. Splat.
Right. Just like the entire, there's just like a line of horrible, nasty goo and worms.
Like
just
5 or 6 people standing around just got slimed completely. So
people are like, yeah, could you not fly around with your jetpack, please?
that's cool.
And yes.
I've seen mock-ups of people putting Paul Atreides and Chani and the Maker Hooks, and I think even Chris Knives into Fortnite, and I'm just like, I don't know if that's real or not anymore. We live in such a society where it's like late stage capitalism is the fuckiest, weirdest thing, but I can totally see Warner Brothers being like, yo, you know what we should do? Kids love Dune. We know that because of all the toys that got made back for the 1984 Lynch film. Kids love Dune. So
You know what kids love? Beaches.
I don't know. People are saying it is real. Great. I looked at it and like, there's no goddamn way this is real. It's the dumbest thing I've seen. But yeah, sure, why not? Fine. I could have done a story about that, but I couldn't even figure out if it was real or not.
I mean,
Anyway,
yeah, I feel like there's nothing Fortnite could put into it anymore that would, like, nothing people could come up with would make me be like, that is implausible.
yeah.
Yep, that's totally fair. That could definitely be in Fortnite. All right, yeah, I think that is all the stories that we had marked in terms of stuff that looked silly. So let us talk about what's coming up next.
All right.
Because what's coming up next is Friday Night Paper Fight, where a bunch of the Loading Ready Run crew are going to be doing a spooky arena cube that was put together by our very own Ben Ulmer. So it's going to be a draft and then playing some games of this super sweet cube that Ben put together that is all about graveyards in different usage of the graveyard, is from what I understand.
Nice. Awesome.
And then on Saturday, we have actually a bonus stream. Someone gave James a code for, and they said the game was kind of like Tarkov, and so apparently that was the magic word that made James want to stream it.
It's like, yeah, let's give it a go. He's going to stream it for you guys for a little while. But not longer than 6 p.m.
Yes, because at 6 p.m., It's Loading Ready Live.
Yeah.
What's going to be on Loading Ready Live? I think I know, but that might change.
Something will definitely happen. You can see that it's came up again.
Something will be there.
Will it come up a third time? Damn it.
And then on Sunday, Rhythm Cafe, where Heather and Ian are going to be continuing with Frederick, or maybe playing it for the first. I know they were playing it a few weeks ago. Maybe that ended up not happening, and they played something else.
I think it might have gotten delayed. Yeah. So now here we are.
And then on Sunday evening, Storybook Brawl on Is This Your Card? And then on Monday, Graham returns with Play It Forward of Deus Ex Mankind Divided, followed by Can't Draw Horses Club with Corey and Friends, followed by Alabaster Kingdom, Episode 4. And if you want to watch the other 3 previous episodes of that, they are all available as VODs right here on our Twitch channel, because the YouTube is still having issues. But they're all available right here on our Twitch channel, and they're also available in audio form as a podcast wherever fine podcasts are. And if you haven't watched them, you should, because it's awesome. Now let's thank people who subscribed during the stream.
All right. Thunderbird32 is back for 47 months.
Hey, Manic Pixie Dream Lurker for that 69 months. Oh, yeah.
Couldn't pick a username, back for 59 months. Thank you.
Diamond MX for 47 months.
JS1813, back for 56 months.
You lied to me, dude. The problem is that could have been in response to a lot of things we said today.
It's true. Nova Tiempo got that 3-year anniversary, and Nova TM2 with 32 months.
always together.
Yep.
Dormar for 38 months.
And welcome back Nigooki for 32 months.
Thanks everybody for watching. And also these 3,200 bits from Space Battery and Ferrobender27. Thank you so very, very much.
As always, you can hit up the Patreon if that's your jam too. Patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. I have no idea. I believe the YouTube memberships are still operating, and it's a weird position to be in when there's no videos on the available to watch, but they are still there. And you can also check out our store at store.loadingreadyrun.com.
All of those things. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in just over, or I won't see you, or I'll see you, but you won't see me.
Mm-hmm.
On Friday Night Paper Fight in just over an hour. So talk to y'all later. Bye.